Sage, of course, have played a huge role in driving change from a technology point of view within professional services over the last 2 or 3 decades. How do you think that rate of change has accelerated in recent years?
Yeah, it's incredible. 35 years I've spent in sort of around technology, and it has never been more exciting than now. And back in the 80s and 90s, I worked for a company called Oracle, where we had a vision of creating data ubiquitously around the world. And wow, who would have guessed? I think is it in the last 2 years there's been more data created than the history of man and womankind. So everything's accelerating. The same, you'd say 18 months of taking pictures, more pictures have been taken in the history of photography. The speed of acceleration is breathtaking, and it's kind of a time where not necessarily a white knuckle ride, but we are hanging onto our seats in terms of seeing the merging and convergence of different technologies coming together. Now I've invested in some really exciting companies with artificial intelligence, machine learning, something probably of interest to the audience around Kimball, which is a really cool professional service automation solution, doing things that 10 years ago were done by manually and really inefficiently with loads of errors and loads of handoffs. There is no doubt about it, technology is the kind of new DNA of successful companies. And I believe also when you look in 10 years' time at consumer companies, and we're seeing this now on the high street, everything will be digital, everything will be technology enabled. So the speed is breathtaking, point number one. Number two, partners and chief executives out there, step in. Many of you will be digital natives. You will have inherently grown up in a world that is digitally enabled. And what it allows you to do is build businesses much quicker than was humanly possible even 10, 15 years ago. So if you're looking to recruit consultants, wow, it's a whole lot easier. You've got the world of LinkedIn, you've got all the informal social networks around the world where you can do your diligence on potential candidates, and you can accelerate that recruitment process, and you can make sure also people really understand the cultural fit and your vision and what you're trying to do, because they will have done their diligence on you. So the speed of compression in terms of all these different technologies coming together, I don't think there's ever been such an exciting time. And I do think, and it's probably not been talked about very much, where we have had massive convergence in terms of the consumer world. Now we won't have one device that's our watch, it's our phone, it's our browser, it's our everything. It kind of runs our life. And now the underlying software technologies around all the data, all the analytics, predictive analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things is going to be transformational, and there'll be huge companies created and consultancy firms will basically make themselves famous by converging these technologies to be very disruptive in business segments. And I can't think of a more exciting time than being a partner in a great professional services company that wants to disrupt and create the future, whether it's in financial services or the consumer world, than now. And Sage, absolutely was part of that journey in the accountant space, and going forward, looking to see the accountants to play their role in helping businesses and give great advice to help them grow and get their growth capital and go to the next stage.
So there's no question that technology offers huge opportunity, and large organisations across every industry are investing heavily, as we've talked about, in all sorts of technologies, artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, etc. What about smaller firms? Do you think smaller firms need to stick to continue focusing on what they do best, or do you think actually they also need to really embrace these technological changes and place them at the heart of their strategies, just as any large organisation?
I think, I'd firstly kind of respect it, but the world's moving on very fast. Just sitting around here, we've got a Nikon camera, we've got an iPhone, and we've got a laptop. If I'd been here 15 years ago, we would have had camera crews here, we would have had all these, the equipment would have cost probably, $100,000. Today, $1,000, $2,000. So that's the reality of every industry segment. For the accountants, there is little value in transaction type services where error checking is the case 10 years ago, but now a lot of that's going to be automated through really cool software technology powered by artificial intelligence and analytics, where you can go to a restaurant with a customer, you can scan the receipt in, and it's all automatically in the accounting system, it's on your T&E system, it's already there. Again, what happened, 10 years ago? Every month you'd have to naggle your consultants to go in and type their T&E in and their bills and stuff and their hotels, and it was just brutal. So the world's moved on. As an accountant, I think the opportunity is, you've got to look at it from a half-full point of perspective. You can't stand as the technology digital bus is rolling down and you expect to stop it, because that's not going to happen. What you can do is say you can get on it and you can think about how do you want to reinvent the services you provide so they provide your clients with even greater value. So I think in the accounting profession, there will still be, incredible talents around advising customers, but the advice they'll want is about how do I grow faster? How do I export? How do I get access to growth capital? How do I effectively redefine the role of the accountant as almost being a virtual finance director? And again, some of the early stage companies where I've invested, we've got brilliant finance directors who come in and give unbelievably strategic advice, but they only work 2 days a month for that company. So from your point of view, there's a different model. Now, the good news is the day rates you can charge and the value you bring is much higher than just that crazy, last minute over the weekend at the end of the tax year, just crashing away and inputting data to get off to HMRC or the tax authority. So the quality, I think, of the work you can do is exponentially higher. The value of it to your clients is much higher. And it redefines your business to become almost a virtual finance director of your client's business, and hugely helpful. And probably just through technology, it means you can double, triple, quadruple the number of clients that you have for transactional services at the same cost base that you're operating today.
Local government has been under huge pressure in the last 10 years. First of all with the recession, and now of course more recently with the uncertainty introduced by Brexit. What role do you think technology needs to play in protecting local government services in the years ahead?
I think, again, showtime. This is the best time. You look at the technology, whether it's from digital marketing, social media, AI, machine learning, robotics, all these areas, there is opportunity for convergence to create radically different technology solutions that serve the wider population and the community. And I think we all passionately believe in the community. If you go around rural England, the sense of having the pub and the library and all these sort of institutions where people met and communities came together is fundamental. And maybe we've lost that. We're all a bit too busy. So I think invariably what we've got to do from the government, and probably all of us in business, is always do more with less. So we're always looking, in the old days of having like 2 or 3% productivity every year through technology. That was kind of what we got used to as a status quo. Now we can look at radically different, where we can do 2 times as much with the same technology. So I'd say when I was in government, around this area, we looked at 2 things. One is to create platforms, world-class platforms. And I think absolutely things like GovUK, it won awards. When I was there, it beat things like the Olympics for marketing awards, and it was a platform that citizens in this nation trust. 60 million people using it. We had all the telemetry, all the data to make sure it was best in class, and literally hundreds of changes were made according to citizens' needs. So create great platforms. The other thing I think is, and this is very true now, where we want to put citizens in charge of their relationship with governments. So if you're a consulting firm, bid into the public sector, I think there's a great opportunity. And we're only probably a third of the way through this journey, where, back from post-Second World War, it was big government doing stuff to citizens. And what technology allows through platforms is turning that on its head and putting citizens in charge of their accountability, ultimately their good health, their family's good health, and what services do they need from government, both central government and public and local government, and the third sector, that really can allow them to live fulfilled lives and allow their kids and their families and their wider families and their elderly relatives to really be nurtured, helped, supported through their life journey. So I think there are huge opportunities actually, and again, it's so easy to sort of lie here and say bitching and moaning about cuts or whatever, but for entrepreneurs and leaders of professional services companies who are listening to this, our role is not that is gone. The reality is digital technology, all the technologies I've talked about, the acceleration of what we can do now, stuff that took me 10 years to do 20 years ago, probably takes a year to do now. Building companies, growing companies, going overseas, connecting communities. 2 billion smartphones on the planet from a standing start when they were invented by Steve Jobs in 2007. Who could have guessed that there would be everybody who, from the palm of their hand, who could control their life, and as citizens, they can take responsibility for their input to the community. They can take responsibility for making a difference to the community, starting their own business, growing community contributions to things like libraries, hospital, all those sort of things. So I think there is a wealth of opportunity furnished by technology, and this is the golden age where this technology has got to be exploited to the good and well-being of communities, individuals, citizens, families, for the benefit and prosperity of all.